Your presence here will help Kenyans understand a little more about the benefits of e-governance, because I'm aware that you're almost at 100%. What have been the benefits?
You never go to a government office. Currently, your digital ID do not have access for distant use, because you have to prove, in addition to your ID code, with your biometric data that you are you. But the system can add on a distant verification method, similar to M-Pesa, for example, which verifies you from the distance. So similar access modes exist, for example, in Estonian e-governance model. And when you have this, then you never go anywhere to get a government service. Government service is online, and you apply for social services, you put your children's name down for a school. In Estonia, we offer universal child support for parents. Actually, they don't even have to apply. They are prompted when a baby is born. A baby is born directly from e-health registry. Baby gets a digital ID. Parents now add the name without going to a government office. And then the system prompts them to apply for social support, which they are entitled to. We have a universal support mechanism. So your government is there 24/7, 365, but you never see a government office. It's a huge liberation, I have to say. Even for me, myself, when I travel here, I don't go back home and see a pile of papers which needs signatures. I can log in and make a law finally approved in Estonian system, where if the parliament has approved it, I have 2 weeks now to, announce this law. I can do it from here.
I'd like us to talk about your leadership journey, but it would really be nice if you can tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was that like growing up under the system that you grew up in?
I grew up in occupied Estonia.
Yeah.
When I was 14, my school, which was at that time every child's first touch with the repressive Soviet system, told me that I had to join the Young Communist League, or else I don't go to university, because they wouldn't accept me if I'm not member of the Young Communist League. It didn't realize I managed to get to university, but it was already Gorbachev time, so times had started to change and open up.
Yeah.
My mother wanted to study physics, but because my family was known to be anti-communist, she couldn't. She had to study medicine or natural sciences, because physics was a war science. And if you're anti-communist, you cannot study that. My grandmother was taken to Gulag of Stalin, where for 9 years she was mining nickel for being anti-Soviet. And she didn't organize mass demonstrations or kill communists or anything. It was just known that she's counter, and she was taken to Gulag. This was how you grew up. Of course, not every family, but many families had this kind of relatives sent to Siberia, and everybody has similar stories. But you could adjust to this Soviet way of living. You never expressed your opinion. You never spoke out against, what the government told you to do. You participated in the 1st of May demonstrations and all these stupid things, which you were forced to do. It was not voluntary.
That in any way inspire you to be a politician?
No. When I graduated from secondary school, I chose natural sciences as my subject, because I wanted to be in laboratory or in the field somewhere. You never studied history or law in the Soviet system unless you wanted to be, closely cooperating with the system.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a politician when I graduated from secondary school or even university. But then Estonia regained independence, and then, of course, things changed.
Yeah. And how did you become president?
Estonian parliament asked me to stand as a candidate. In Estonian electoral system, it is the parliament which elects the president. We are a parliamentary republic.
Yes.
And the parties in the parliament need to have absolute majority of support for any candidate. They thought they will have this support for me, and they did.
What has been your experience as president, first president, female president for your country?
I'm woman because I was born this way. And I don't know how it would be to be a male president. I've never been one, and I cannot compare. But what it has changed for the country is that our small children never ask this question, can a woman be a president? They know they can. And I think this is important.
And what would you tell a young Kenyan child, a young Kenyan girl who could never dream of something like that? What would you advise them?
I've seen ministers in Kenya, wonderful ladies. I've seen active women in this society. And it might seem that, I mean, in a country where women already are presidents and prime ministers, like for example in Estonia or Finland or Lithuania or elsewhere, that, I mean, all these gender issues are resolved. This is never true. This is never true. There is always even unbiased, I mean, this kind of unconscious gender bias in a society. And you will every day have to deal with it, but you have to deal with it in a way that you are actually not, I mean, making people like really go in one really strong one side and the others really in the other direction very strongly, but to kind of sometimes even, I mean, with good humor, to point out that, I mean, hi, what you said now was patronizing for women, or hi, I understand you don't mean it badly, but this is your unconscious gender bias speaking. This will never end, I am quite sure. This is how the world is, and we always need to stand up for making sure that everybody in society is treated equally. And this is not only about women, it's about sexual minorities, it's about people with special needs,